So there I am in this chamber. The next minute I was in Stonehenge. And they said to me, Stonehenge is a receiving and a transmitting station. And that's how the ancients spoke to the gods.
Hello, welcome to the Happy Insights podcast. My name is Happy Ali. We are still on the near death experience series, so I'm really excited to have another wonderful guest today. Her name is Jill Cole, a soul medicine hypnotherapist, a channel, and author of The Discourse. Through her work in soul medicine hypnotherapy, Jill helps people awaken to their divine essence, reconnect with their soul's mission, and receive guidance from higher realms. Following a life-changing near-death experience in 2002, she opened to direct communication with higher consciousness and has since devoted her life to helping others remember who they are. Welcome to the show, Jill.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump right in. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna just talk about the NDE and what happened. I'm really curious. I don't really know the story myself, so it'll be the first time I'll be hearing it as well. And then I want you to go into some of your work and your superpowers or anything. So I'm open to anything. This show is not scripted in any way, and I have no preparations. So, what led up to your near-death experience?
So in 2002, I was living in Auckland in a big city, and we used to have a ski house. So my husband's a really good skier. The boys are excellent skiers. And I was always the mum that was making the food and taking them up the mountain, all that kind of stuff. So my skiing was sort of like put to the side. I wasn't given like the latest skis or whatever. And that particular day, it was the very first start of the new ski season. And my husband said to me, listen, I've got you some demo skis, and there's not enough snow. There's not huge snowfall yet. So just be careful that you just don't go on any rocks. So I had that in sort of like the back of my mind. And I was an average skier. I mean, I wasn't hopeless. And then I did the best ski run that I'd ever done. And it felt like I was flying. It was fantastic. And the very next minute, my right ski touched a little pocket of snow about just that big. And I just heard crack, 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 snap, snap, snap. And my ski touched my forehead. I didn't know then that all my tendons, all my ligaments, bar one, had been totally snapped.
Oh my God.
And I felt I was having a heart attack because it just came through me like, the adrenaline and that. Poof. And I just was lying on the side, just waiting for somebody to come. So then the next minute they came, they put the big skis like this and took me down in the skidoo. And the guy said, look, this doesn't look great at all. Anyway, long story short, I had to go for an MRI. And that's when the first freaky bit started. It was almost like I was being set up by my guides. And I only had one guide at that time that I knew about called Aurelius. And that morning of the MRI, before my operation, we had a TV producer, presenter, who said, hey guys, if ever you go for an MRI and they ask you if you'd like to hear the music, say no. And I thought, what are the chances of that, right? On the exact morning of my MRI. Hey, happy? It's
That's
incredible,
crazy.
right? So
That's amazing. That's
so
how the
that
universe
aligned
works.
exactly. So I got in there and they said, do you want music? And I said, no. So there I am in this chamber. And I knew if it was 300 years ago, I most probably would never walk again because they'd never be able to see the damage. And I'm not a religious person, but I'm a grateful person. So I closed my eyes and I spoke to, call it God, call it source, call it whatever you want to. I just said, thank you for creating a human being that was intelligent enough to design this machine, because without it, I might never walk again. how does this machine work? And the next minute, I was in a boat on a lake and I was being shown a graph and all the images and the resonance coming in with all the fish underneath. And it was called a fish finder, which boats actually use. And they said it's called a magnetic image through resonance. And I went, oh, yeah, MRI. The next minute, I was in Stonehenge and I was being pushed between the little stones and the big stones. So when there was just a little stone from stone to stone, the noise went boing, boing. And if it was further along, it went boing, boing. And they said to me, Stonehenge is a receiving and a transmitting station. And that's how the ancients spoke to the gods. And I'm
Wow.
going, wow, I didn't know that. And then this little man appeared and he looked like Mother Teresa in male form, little, wrinkly brown skin. And as he looked at me, I felt like it was, I can only describe it as an incredible torch beam, a beam of light that went through my body. And I felt filled up with unconditional love that like I've never experienced on earth. And I realized it was Aurelius. And he had a breastplate on from his left shoulder to his right shoulder, like an Egyptian god, all in the turquoises and everything. And I said to him, and the MRI goes, do, 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 like a jackhammer. And I said to him, wow, isn't this giving you a headache, wherever you are? He said to me, hush, stop jabbering like a monkey and listen to me. I want to teach you how the human energy system works. And you need to teach humanity about this system. And now, I'm having an MRI, right? The very next minute, I get shown a being walking towards me through mist. And it's just like a light being. And I see this fine white mist coming into its mouth. And he says to me, this, your mouth, is your portal of light. He said, because all the words that come out of your mouth have such immense power that if you humans only knew the power that you are transmitting through the vibration. And he said, every human must hold their hand really close to their lips, like 2 inches away. And then they have to say their name and they will hear their vibration and their sequencing pattern. It's like their blueprint that's come alive. And he said, then they try another name and it'll be a completely different pressure on their hands. And they've got to remember that they are vibration. Beautiful frequency, beautiful patterns. And so he then said, okay, let me show you how the system works. Every human owns a hotel and they don't even know it. He said they have a penthouse and they have a basement and they have 7 floors. And this is the portal, which is the lobby to their hotel. He said, so when you breathe in, he said, humanity gives us many different names. He said they call it oxygen, spirit, blessing. He says, for all we care, you can call it strawberry jam. He said, but it comes in. And then he said, it goes up and down your lift shaft through every single floor. And he says, and then he showed me the lift doors opening on each floor. He said, you people call it a chakra system or meridians. Once again, that's just a name. He said, but this is the energy system. And he said, and as he showed me, as the door opened on each floor, and they all open at exactly the same time. And it looked like a spinning vortex there, like a helicopter blade, like ferociously so fast. And they just went, pew, pew, pew. And as it did that, he said, each section, and then he showed me the Da Vinci man, with the arms out like that, all sectionalized. And he said, your oxygen, your spirit, your energy, because this is your energy, he said, if it opens up on a certain section, it goes through everything that's on that floor. the bones, the vessels, the skin, the blood, I mean, hair follicles, everything. And then he went to the chest area and he said, the chest is a reservoir. I said, for what? He says, for all expectations and grief. He said, every single organ that the human holds is connected to an emotion. So if one of your systems or your organs or your knee area or whatever is out, it has a distortion in its field, in its energy field, he said, it's because of the thought behind it. And he said, that's what he wants to teach people, how their systems work. He said, have you ever heard the words red with rage or green with envy? He said, that is your color, that is the density that is attached to that area. He said, study your ancient sayings because they hold deep meaning. He said, let's get back to the chest area. He said, many men have heart attacks. He said, more than women. And he said, because they haven't learnt the art of communication to use their portals of light. So because they haven't been taught how to open up, how to communicate and release their frustrations, their sadness, their anger, what's living inside them, there's now a blockage. And he said, that energy that came in through your portal of light that was supposed to go pew, through that whole chest area can't anymore. And he said, you wouldn't paint your ceiling in your homes black or dark navy or red. They're usually quite light. He says, because that's an expansion that opens up. And he said, just as thoughts and anger and frustration have that deep red when it comes to the anger and the hurt, he said, now you're putting a blockage into your system, yourself. And he said, that's why it's so important to be conscious and aware. And he said, the word Christ actually means conscious, just to be self-aware. And he said, if you are not aware of your own thoughts, who should be? They are your thoughts. And you are the gatekeeper for your portal, for your thoughts. So he said, suddenly now you've got the blockage. So it's not going, whew, it's going, dum, and only a little bit is getting through. So now he said your body is no longer at ease. It's now at dis-ease. That's the distortion in the field. You've got a blockage. So now you have a heart attack. Or leave it long enough and you get cancer. So he said, let's continue this.
Wait a minute.
He's,
So this
yeah,
is all happening while you're in the MRI machine, which is like a big fat tube,
yes.
right? This is crazy. This is, I mean, a good way, but this is so amazing. Keep going. I'm sorry. I had to cut you off because
No,
you're taking me on this journey and I forgot you were in this loud MRI machine.
yes. I know, it's incredible, hey? And it's so amazing because they show me like videos. So as I'm telling you, I'm right there watching it as it happened. And he said, I want to finish off this lesson today. He said, let's not call them lessons anymore. Let's call them remembrances. He says, because you're not here to teach anybody anything really. He said, you're just allowing them to remember who they are and connect with their essence and empower them. Just remind them how powerful they are, what incredible beings, multidimensional beings they are. And he said, so when they decide to speak through their portal, when they decide to create action with their physical 3D, please remind them that whatever they give out is the exact gift that they get in return. And we call it the boomerang effect. And yet you humans don't realize the power of who you are. And he said, haven't you through your life had moments where you've heard a bit of gossip and you know you shouldn't really repeat it, but you know those people around you don't know it and it's juicy? And he said, and what does it do? He said, it gives you 3 seconds of spotlight. But he said, how damaging is it? And why would you choose to do that to somebody else? Because that's the gift that is going to come back to bite you in the ass. And he
He
says,
said
human.
ass. He said ass.
He said, as he's got a great sense of humor.
I
And
love
he,
that.
he said, seriously, humans need to wake up. And then that was the end of the MRI.
Wow. Wow, that's a beautiful story. I'm so glad I didn't know any of this because I have a pure reaction to it. All right, so then keep going. We only have 33 minutes to get as much as we can out of this.
Okay. So then what happened was I was scheduled for the operation and the surgeon got the MRI results and he said, these are not good. I can't promise you that you're ever going to walk again. And if you do, you're not going to walk maybe particularly well. And I'm walking like a superstar, right? So I then had a really bad chest infection, but I didn't tell the surgeon because he wouldn't operate and he was going on holiday. And I was sick and tired of not being able to go anywhere with this stuffed up knee, right? So, and I went for the operation and I came out of the op and my surgeon went on holiday and he let the anaesthetist look after me. But the physiotherapist came to work on my chest and she said, oh, this is not good. And she was clearing out all the gunk. And then the anaesthetist said to me, okay, I'm clearing you to go home. And the physio said, look, I don't think she's ready to go home. No, he said, she's fine. And that night I had my near-death experience
What happened?
because my lungs filled with water, with fluid. I couldn't breathe. So my husband was in our master bedroom and I was in the guest bedroom because I couldn't let him move in bed because my leg was, so compromised and painful. In the middle of the night, I started hearing a sound that sounded like a freight train. I don't know how else to describe it. And I then realized that I was the freight train and that I wasn't breathing and I knew I was dying. And there was nothing that I could do about it. And in that instant, we've got 2 sons, 36 years old and 33 years old. When George was 5 years old and I was taking him to school, he turned at the traffic light and he looked at me out of nowhere and he channeled. And he said to me, Mum, do you know what you've got to do before you die? And I said, what's that? He said, you've got to thank God. And we weren't churchgoers. And I said, thank God for what? He said, for giving you this life. And another time at the traffic light again, he turned and he looked at me and he said, do you know, Mum, life is a dream, but it's the dream that's the reality.
Oh my God,
I
that's
said,
amazing.
what? What did you say? And he said, what? He was totally oblivious to what he was doing, right? But that came straight to me as I was dying that I had to give thanks. So my initial panic, which seemed like forever, went calm. And I just said, thank you that I had this earth experience, that I had a husband, children, friends, blah, 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 blah. And the very next minute, my entire room lit up. Now, this is like 2 in the morning with golden light. So, so, so bright, and yet super, super soft at the same time. And 3 huge pairs of hands came out down from the ceiling. And I couldn't see the bodies that went with the hands, just these hands coming like that. One held me under my legs, one held me sort of around my hips, and the other held me in the torso. And they started swinging me. And they said, rockabye baby. in a treetop. Like, and I'm
Wow.
thinking, what the hell? But so immersed in it. And then this voice, it was like a booming voice, but a soft voice. I know it's crazy. And then I saw this entire room fill up with like what you would think of as council members or light beings. And I just got this message that just came through like in waves. And it said, it is not your time. You have work to do. And then I was told by my soul manager that I was supposed to be activated, which means woken up to who I am truly in 2031. But
Wow.
my near death experience catapulted, trajected me into 2031, the shock, the experience, the everything. And then my work began. And did that work begin? It was phenomenal. It was like suddenly everything was on steroids. It,
I have a
oh,
question. I have a question. So here, you're out of your body, right? Are you out of your body? You're in another land, or is this all happening in a room while
I'm
you're
just
still in your
watching.
body?
I I don't know where I was, but I was just interacting with
Okay,
what
so
was there.
it was unclear whether you were out of the body, whether you were in.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is so fascinating because everyone's story is so different. I love that yours is so uniquely different. And then you found yourself in the future.
And then my husband woke up. Now he wakes up for nothing. I mean, if we're going to get a burglar, I'm the one that's going to have to deal with the burglar because he's sound asleep. And he's rubbing his eyes and he says to me, "You called." I go, "No, I didn't. I mean, I didn't say a sound. So who called him?" And then he called the doctor and then I was helped.
Um, so your lungs were filled with fluid, but you didn't technically physically die, but you had the death experience, kind of the near death
Yes,
experience.
the near death
No, I mean, I had my own near-death experience and I didn't die. I just went into another world and
realm.
came
Yeah.
back with a realm and with a lot of knowledge. So I understand it's so fascinating. It's so fascinating. I want to know more about the time where did they show you 2031 and what you would be doing for work? Is that what happened? That's the part I'm very confused about
No, they just said that I was supposed to wake up
in
in
2031.
2031, but this trigger, it's like a trigger or something that went, choop, okay, now you're on the timeline of where you were supposed to be. And so it's almost like I have won a prize. I don't know how else to say it. Like sent into this new classroom and said, okay, you are now ready to walk through this door. And this is like, I'll tell you, okay, let me tell you some of the things that have been happening to me that blow my mind, right?
Right.
I was told that I'm the gatekeeper for the portal of Egypt.
Okay.
And so I was just chatting about it online with a friend of mine and said, okay, we're going to Egypt. And within 1 month, we had 22 people from 11 countries saying, we're coming with you. And we went to Egypt. And the activations that happened in Egypt were insane, insane. And then we found out that those people that came with us were with us in a past life in Egypt, and we were going back to um, waken up the energy that we had planted all the time ago on those ley lines for humanity, like all the key codes, opening them all up so that everybody that came after us to those temples, even if they were just an ordinary tourist, would be activated, right? They would step into that new frequency, that new energy. So we were then told that, and then I went to a Sekhmet temple, which is pitch black, and started seeing this statue of Sekhmet. And she started morphing in front of me. She started glimmering and she started speaking to me. And I thought, right, you're ready for the loony bin because now you're speaking to a statue. And then she started channeling through me. And and then when I got here 2 years later, and my husband went skiing again early in the morning, and I was speaking to that same friend, the curtain in my lounge started doing this. And I said to her, "Can you believe it? Greg's gone skiing. He's left the damn door open. What? Where are his brain cells?" Right? This idiot husband. So I walked over to close the door, but the door was closed. And it was Sekhmet. And she said, "Right, Michelle's going to hypnotize me. I'm going to hypnotize her. She's going to give us 7 chapters for a book called Sekhmet Speaks. And she wants us to go back to Egypt in August this year. And the people that are come are going to be earth masters. They might even not know who or what they are, but they're going to feel the calling." And look at this question. Are you mastering earth, or is earth mastering you? And I just thought, wow, that's brilliant. Okay. So at the moment, we've put that together and we've only got 12 spots left. So that's just brilliant. We're only taking a small group. And then 2 months ago, I'm sitting in the spa pool, and this event that I'm telling you about now, I've had over 40 of these. So now I know something's really going on. Sitting in the spa pool, 7 o'clock at night, and I just watch a cloud gently go by. Suddenly a face appears in the cloud, but like a photograph of a person, not like a little whale or a dog. And I go, "Who are you?" He says, "I'm Amphion." I said, "How do you spell your name?" He said, Ampion. So I got out of the spa pool, and I'm looking at Google to see if actually there is such a thing at all, expecting no results. And it says Greek god, circa 4000 BC, known for his sweet sound that erected the 7 walls of ancient Thebes. And I'm going, no way. The next night, I'm in the spa pool, and this time another face appears. But this time, the face that looks like the statue of David, like
Yeah.
all marble. And I said, "Who are you?" He says, "I'm Asclepius." So I ran and got my cell phone, came back, and I took a photograph of him because I thought, no, I need proof. Like, I believe, but give me proof and then I'll believe. And I looked him up, and it says Greek god, circa 4000 BC, known for his healing. And the final day, the next night, the entire sky lit up with a huge face. I said, "Who are you?" He says, "Theos, Greek god, god of gods." So you've got sound, healing,
God of
God.
God.
So
Wow,
do you see how things
it's
happen?
unreal. How does your husband react to all of this stuff? I mean, has he now he's seen you do stuff or speak stuff? I'm just very curious how your children, and your husband react to your abilities.
If for a while there, he wasn't very happy. It was like, what's happened to my wife? It was like an embarrassment. Like, how do I introduce my wife to somebody? Like, what does your wife do? It's like, well, you know, tough. This is who I am, and not going anywhere. And now he's okay. Now I think he's sort of stepping into himself. My youngest son is incredible. He, during COVID, couldn't work. So he came home back from Australia, and he said, "Mom, I've always wanted to create music." He said, "There's something called beats." I said, "Well, go for it. This is your perfect time." And 3 weeks later, he said, "Guess what? Nike have bought 2 of my beats, and they've put them to their ads, to the adverts." And I said,
Wow,
"That's what happens when you step into who you came to be, right?"
that's lovely.
What a blessing COVID was for you. And he said he says, "Mom, do you see RBG?" I said, "What is RBG?" He said, "Red, blue, green." He said, "I see them as QR codes hanging in the sky, all in the air in front of me." I said, "Oh, so you actually reading the codes?" I said, "That's fantastic." And then we had a friend here the other day staying with us called Tabash. His name's Blair Starrer, but he channels Tabash. And my oldest son was just chatting to him and said, "Oh, so you're a channel and whatever." And he said, "Can I ask you a question?" Now, this son is very corporate, and he's never like told me anything about approval of what I do. It's almost like, oh, ick, like, oh, my mother, can't she just be normal? And he just said to him, and we were just sitting out having lunch, you know, at night in my room, I see people. He said, and it scares the living daylights out of me. And I'm thinking, what? You never told me. I'm the mother. Damn. So, what the?
Well,
And the guy said to him, yes, because you've lifted your vibration and they're coming and hanging out. So you can work with them or not. It's up to you.
wow. So it runs in the genes. You gave your gift to your children. Obviously, it's your special spirit, special soul, and of course, special souls would come through you as well. That's beautiful. I'm beside myself. I'm very impressed. It's so cool that and you received all this information from within you. It wasn't like you went and sought stuff out, learned stuff. It was more like
Oh,
coming through you.
yes. And you know what happened 2 weeks ago?
What
So
happened? Do
two
tell.
weeks
I love
ago,
your excitement.
they wake me up in the middle of the night. I'm watching a dream. I'm watching myself giving a workshop. And they said, you're going to be giving this workshop and you can do it online. You can hypnotize people. It's the four archetypes. So you got the lover, the magician, the sovereign, and the warrior. And they've given me this whole induction that I can teach people to find out where those four archetypes live inside them, how they wish to be addressed, what color they resonate to, and then if they've got an issue in their life, a question or a problem, they ask each of those individually, they'll get four different answers. And like the lover comes from love, the magician always has the answer. The sovereign says, I'm the boss. And the warrior sets up your boundaries and looks after you. So I tried it with a client who came for a hypnosis session. And I knew shame, she didn't have a lot of money. And I said to her, I don't want to charge you because I've got a new modality. I didn't tell her that I was given this in a dream because I think she'd think, holy heck, what am I dealing with? And so I knew all her problems, all her issues because we had done the whole interview. And so I pulled those in and addressed them. Of course, she started speaking as a third person.
I love
She
that.
gave four magnificent answers. And afterwards, she said to me, I can't believe I even thought that it was any of those were issues. I have never looked at anything like that before. I said, now you've got four wise beings living inside you that are activated. I said that you activated. And now that you know the technique, you'll be able to do this for the rest of your life. And that's what I want to do, Happy. I, I just want to push the button because everybody's got a button. Just push it and go, look how fabulous you are. Look what you can do.
It's
That's
fun.
what I love.
It's funny because my hypnotherapy is four questions. I take them under. I ask them. I have their, whatever, super conscious, subconscious, show them certain memories, and then I have them ask those questions and find out what they were about, why did they show them that memory, and how to answer their own questions. And ironically, I do four too. So it's very interesting. We're very aligned in that way. I wish I could see more regularly the things that you see or hear. I'm a prophetic dreamer, so I dream stuff in advance. That's my superpower. But of course, I want more and more superpowers. And I sometimes I want to disappear for a month. I have children. I'm a single dad. I want to disappear for a month and just go meditate for a month and come back. Last time I did 4 days and I got new superpowers. I just know, like, being out in the world being out in nature is so important, and you live in nature, which is amazing.
Beautiful.
So,
Can Happy.
yes.
I don't know how much time we've got left, but I know this is very important because I asked Urka, which is my soul manager, which is a new thing I learned about, um, what would he like to share with the audience today?
Okay. We have 19 minutes.
And
So,
this is what he said. This is what
okay.
he said. He said, you are not your job, and you are not your past, and you are not the story you were told. You are light. in form. You are sound slowed down so it can be touched. You're a piece of the stars wearing skin for a while. You came from the everywhere. You came through love into form to remember that love again, but this time while inside a body. The truth is, you're not separate, and you're not random, and you're not broken. You are a note in the song of the universe. You are the awareness that watches your thoughts. You are not the pain, you are the one who can heal it. Even your fear is sacred. It's just trying to protect the softness inside you. But the truth is, you're not that softness either. You are what holds it all because you are the sky, not the weather. And when you remember this, you stop looking outside for permission to be. You begin to walk like the stars still live in your chest. And that is the beginning of everything.
Wow. Such beautiful words spoken. And those were all channeled through you by your soul manager. I
Yes.
love that name, that concept. Even your soul has a manager.
And okay, so let me tell you what happened on Saturday, just this Saturday, because I never know what's going to happen next. It's like sometimes I think, am I making this all up? I mean, I must be making this up, surely. So I have a friend of mine living in Auckland, known her for years. Her husband is a top psychiatrist. He owns a clinic with about 15 psychiatrists in his clinic, and he's very pedantic, solid, scientific, right? But because he's known me for years, he knows the Jill. He knows that I'm not a lunatic. He knows that I've been in corporate, I've reached what they call success, and you can't do that if you're a lunatic. So my husband woke me up on Saturday, and I was in the middle of a dream. And I said, "Oh, you just woke me up from this dream." He said, "I don't want to hear about it." Because I always say, "Oh my God, listen to this." I don't want to hear about it. He said, "I'm off to look at blah, blah, blah. Okay, see you later." And the dream was so clear, and it was about my friend. And in the dream, she was trying on outfits. Like her bed was scattered with outfits. And then she had a hallway with all these outfits hanging on hangers. And then to the left of it, she opened up the doors, and they were glass doors with Italian steel. And inside it was this beautiful room with glass and steel. And the tables were set in chandeliers and linen and food. And I said, "Oh my God." I said, "Is this a long lunch?" She says, "Jill, these are Italians. They know how to put on a show." I said, "What is this going to cost?" I said, $280. She said, "No, 260." And then she looked magnificent. And then I woke up. I thought, "Ugh, I've just got to phone her and tell her how fabulous she is." And she had me on speakerphone, and her husband was listening. He said, "Hi, Jill." I said, "How's it?" And I told her exactly what I've told you. She said, "Oh my God, are you serious?" I said, "What?" She said, "When did you dream this?" I said, "Right now, I've just woken up." She says, "Jill, that's exactly what I was doing yesterday. My bedroom was covered with clothes. I was trying on all my outfits because next week we leave for Italy."
Wow. I love that. I love how connected we are with how connected we are in the dream world and how accurate it is and how much help we can get from it. I mean, sometimes it's something so simple as that, just to verify, to remind you that you're not crazy. And then for me, sometimes I get, I saw the birth of my child, death of my child. I saw communicate with dad. I do all sorts of stuff. I get text messages on my phone and I hear it in my dream. So there's so many things that happen. But it's amazing. It's a nice confirmation. I think it's a great way to remember that we're not crazy. Because of course, in my family, there's people who are so logical, but I've won them over. Eventually, you win them over. All right. Jill, is there anything else that you feel compelled to share that I didn't ask, or anything part of your experience, or anything that you want to share, and leave us with, before we, because you did such a beautiful, that whole thing that you read was just so amazing that I feel like that was a great closer. But if there's anything
Yeah.
else you want to let me know, feel free to share. I can talk to you all day. You're amazing. We have a lot in common, except I
Oh,
don't
happy.
see
I'm happy.
things.
I'm so happy, I'm so humbled to be um holding this chat with you, because the more people that we can reach to let them know how fabulous they are, that's what I want people to know. I want people to start stepping into their power. And I'm going to leave you with what they're showing me now: the lion and the fish. They said that there are lion people and there are fish people. And I said, what do you mean by that? And they said, well, the lion person knows who they are, and they can climb the tree. They get to the top, they get the best views, and they look at the savannah and they can see for miles. And the fish is in the puddle at the bottom of the tree. And the fish says, come, come and play with me in the puddle. And the lion says, no, come up here. You must see what's here. It's phenomenal. And the fish says, but I can't climb the tree. So because I can't climb the tree, you must come to me. And the lion says, but you can climb the tree. You just forgot. You've got to build the characteristics of the lion and step into the lion that you are. So come and play with me up here in my penthouse. Stop playing in your basement. Stop feeling sorry for yourself, because they say to the audience, what are you going to do when you run out of excuses? What are you going to do when there's nobody left to blame? That's when the real work begins. All those people that you are blaming are your teachers. Nobody can trigger you. You trigger yourself. And they said it is time to step into who you came to be, not all, not just some of what you came to be, but all that you came to be. You don't live for others, you live for your own expansion.
That is beautiful and so powerful. And it seems to be the um, ongoing message that I'm getting from all my guests, that it's time to step in our power, and our only limitations are the ones we give ourselves. And it's time to let it all go.
And they're telling me one last thing that is important for them to know. They said, we are going through a time that Earth has never been through before. Some call it the shift, some call it the great leveler, some call it the awakening. And they said, every soul that is on this earth plane now is here because their team sent them, because they were the best person for the job. And they said that if you hold a party at your home, you can only have X amount of visitors in your home for the party that the room will actually hold. And Earth can only hold X amount of souls at this time. And there were many that wanted to come. But those that came because their team said, you are the person for the job. And they have to remember that they are not doing it alone. They have got a team behind them. And when they're feeling low or at a low ebb, they've got to remember to ask for help, because they're not doing it alone. They're just a spokesperson for the group. And they said there are many saying, yes, but look at Jill, look at Happy. We want to be like that. Why can't we be like that? And they're saying, because you are the tone holder. You are the light and the resonance that needs to be in that particular place where you are now. You are the glue that is holding the whole ball together. And you don't even realize the importance of your job and what it is that you are doing. And they said, when your gridiron team takes the field, what you see are the big players up in lights. Oh, look at this one. Look at that one. Wow, wow, wow. But that team has many players. Somebody sewed the uniforms. Somebody delivered the refreshments. Somebody made the field that it had to be plowed, or the markers. They're showing me all like the marking machine that puts the lines out, the linesmen, the announcers, the mothers and the fathers that went to every little game and supported them, the girlfriends. Everybody that's there is actually the team. So the Happies and the Jills of this world are not the big gridiron people. They are just part of the team, and they are playing the part they came to play this time round, one adventure of one lifetime.
I love that because that really does answer a lot of people's questions when they ask, what's my purpose? I don't feel like I have a purpose. And your purpose is to shine your light as bright as you can so that we have a, a brighter future and the Earth's frequency goes higher and higher. On that note,
You
oh,
see
that's your book?
that? So this was channeled through me. They gave me the questions every Sunday night, and I would send that to the hypnotherapist, Alba Weinman. And in the morning, she would ask me the questions. And they said, this book is like a PhD or master's degree in spirituality for those who are on their path to help them with ascension.
I definitely want to get a copy of that. Is it
It's
on
on Audible. It's on Audible
Audible?
if people,
Uh,
but 10,
yeah.
10 of those sessions are for free on her YouTube channel under her playlist.
Okay.
It's called The Discourse. So people can get it for free if they want to. Yeah.
Awesome. And all your information is below for everyone who wants to either contact Jill or learn more about Jill.
Yoo-hoo!
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for saying yes to the show. You were a delight. You were my last guest today. I did multiple guests. Excuse me. I had multiple guests on today, and your energy was amazing, and it's a wonderful, wonderful way to end the day. So thank you so
Oh,
much. I want to thank my audience for watching and listening, and from the both of us, have a beautiful day or night. Bye.
thanks, Happy. Thanks.